All disabilities are different, and not everyone is born with their disabilities. I, for myself, for example, I acquired mine in Afghanistan, so I've lived as an able-bodied person and also someone with, as my mates would call, a flesh wound. Today I'm going to be talking with someone called Kath Phillips. Now, Kath is a wheelchair user, and she's always been a wheelchair user, and I'm keen to find out what problems she's had over the years, and is there anything that she's found that businesses might be able to do to help her? So Kath, are you there?
I am.
Yes, hello there,
you.
Kath. How are you?
I am good, thank you.
Good stuff. So I suppose the first question that I'd like to ask you is, have you had any funny or awkward situations with accessibility with your disability?
A funny situation. My cousin was pushing me down the street and was going up a curb, and she ended up tipping me out the wheelchair.
Oh.
And it was right outside the church, and the minister came out and said, "What are you doing down there?" And because I was born disabled, I have quite a good dry sense of humour. And I just turned to him and I said to him, "I'm saying my prayers." And he said to me, "Oh, would you like me to pick you up?" And I said, "Yes, please." And he said to me, "How do I do that?" I said, "Just grab hold of me and pick me up and put me back in my chair." And he just said, "Oh, that was simple," and did it.
Fantastic.
That was really good. It was really good. I don't think I've really ever struggled getting into with access. There has been like obstacles in the way, and I do find it's people's ignorance, not thinking out of the box, really, that causes the major problems. I don't know why, but they seem to do accessible toilets for disabled with a ramp that's quite long, quite high, and you're like, right, well, I've got to get up that ramp, and then I've got to open the door towards me, which is a fire door, which is heavy, so then kind of catapults me in, or traps me in between. Those are quite a pain, really, to be honest.
Yeah. Okie dokie. I mean, one of the things that I've found is in establishments, usually the well-known ones rather than small businesses, is the disabled toilet is used as a bit of a storage area. Obviously,
Yes.
as a full-time, lifelong wheelchair user, what's your thoughts on this?
No. Well, I had an incident yesterday. I went into a chain of coffee store, coffee. And I went in and said, "Could I use your toilet, please?" And she said to me, "Have you got your NHS PIN number?" And I said, "Sorry, I don't know what you're on about." And she said, "Well, I'm sorry, no, you can't use it then." And she said, "Our toilet is being used for storage at the moment."
So it's not just me from down south that has experienced this,
No,
even.
Because of COVID, obviously people are going one way and coming out the other, so there's no storage. So the storage goes in the biggest disabled toilet.
Yeah, obviously they're trying to make the whole store accessible because of COVID,
Yeah.
and as a result, they end up making the biggest room, which is usually the disabled toilet, a storage room. Oh, that is a shame. That is a shame. So because of that, obviously there's been a lot going on with COVID at the moment. Is there any top tips that you might have for businesses? What are your top tips for businesses for someone with your situation in a wheelchair?
Well, I've had two experiences. The one yesterday that I've just told you about, and they need to be able to let people use the toilet if they need to do. Not everybody can hold it till they go home or whatever, so they need to be able to use the toilets and move all the excess what's in the toilets out.
Yeah.
And the other one was, I went to a chain store the other day and it was one way, but they barricaded with boxes and all sorts of things because of Christmas as well. Those need to be moved as well because of fire and because there was no room for me to get round. So I actually left the store.
I don't blame you, my dear. I don't blame you. So your top tips would be: don't use the disabled toilet as a storage, and make sure that there's room for a wheelchair to get about. You know, don't block it in.
And the other one is, please, please, please ask a disabled person of when you're building buildings what actually is needed.
I suppose that is a cracking top tip.
And the highways as well.
Yeah, no, that is a best tip. As you know, actually ask someone, isn't it? You know,
That's right.
I suppose that is that a bit of a pet hate then, that people, you know, like you said earlier, ignorance, not asking.
Yes, that's right. And I know disabilities come in many, many forms, and they do, and I fully agree with it. But like Blackpool Prom, they've made it all flat. There's no curves on the prom, so a blind person has not got a clue that they're walking straight into the road.
Yeah.
Ask a blind person, you know, what their needs are. We just need to be consulted.
So there we have it. What works for someone with a disability might not work for someone else with a different disability. The best thing to do is not be afraid to ask. The littlest things can sometimes mean the biggest differences. If you want to know more about how you can help, find out about different disabilities and what you can do to overcome any issues with that, go to accessfilecoast.co.uk, find out more.